Welcome to London Futurists on the future of mental health. I'm the warm-up act before the three main speakers. My name is David Wood. I chair London Futurists. Just to get some idea of who's in the room, and this is entirely voluntary, you don't need to take part, but maybe if you feel like it, maybe if you can raise your hands if you think that the average state of mental health in Britain is pretty good. Who feels that it's pretty good? Nobody brave enough to say that. What about those of you who think that the average state of mental health in Britain could be better? What about if you think it could be a heck of a lot better? Right. Well, mental health means many things, of course, and part of it is emotional health, emotional intelligence, which many people are talking about these days, which is a good sign. Emotional intelligence means understanding why people do things, amongst other reasons. Often people say they're doing things for a reason, but often they find themselves still puzzled. Why has such and such a thing happened? People say there are kind of four pillars to emotional intelligence. There's number one, there's the self-understanding, that you're aware of what factors are happening. You've got names for the feelings that drive you towards various states and various actions. Then there's not just being aware, there's also being able to control, being able to manage your own emotions. That you realize, I'm going to be in this emotional state, but if I do this, I can get to a different emotional state by one means or another. So managing, being aware of your own emotional state, managing your own emotional state. Two other pillars people talk about for emotional intelligence are being aware of other people's emotional states. So it's not just listening to what they say and taking that at face value. It's not even just looking at the face expression of emotion, but often realizing there are other things going on deep below. So general emotional awareness of others. And the fourth pillar then is managing other people's emotional states. And to an extent, what we in society are best at, sadly, is manipulating each other's emotional states. We have large industries which are devoted to manipulating each other's emotional states these days. And we don't really have enough understanding of how to raise our own emotional states, our own spiritual experiences, our own mental health to a high enough level. And sometimes it's simply that we're not aware of what's possible. Or we're only dimly aware of some good place we've been in the past, but we don't get there often and we've no idea how to get back to it. To my mind, the poor quality of mental health in Britain lies at the heart of so many of the other problems we've got. We don't have a very great political system at the moment. We've got people tearing each other's heads off, metaphorically. Imagine they've never heard anything so stupid in their whole lives, even from somebody who used to be your best friend, or maybe even a family member. And that's not just a disagreement on ideas. It's not just an intellectual thing. It's very much of an emotional thing that we all in various ways victim to. So in London Futurists, I'm very interested in what can we do to understand mental health better and raise our mental health into a place where we're more in control of ourselves and we're able to bring out the best in ourselves and the best in each other, not in a manipulative way, but in a way that encourages real flourishing. And today we've got three speakers who are each, in their own way, going to tell part of that story. Part of that story looking at the wisdom and insight of the past. There are various things that our grandmothers or our grandmothers' grandmothers' grandmothers used to know, which we have moved away from, but perhaps we should be listening again. Then there's what's happening in the present. There is a remarkable set of new movements, new understandings about better ways to do mental health, perhaps. And then there's the future, when we take full advantage of the new potential of 21st century science and technology, perhaps to get us all to higher planes of consciousness, better flourishing than ever before possible. That's the goal of the meeting. There's three speakers, each of whom have said they're going to speak for about 20 minutes. We might have a short Q&A after each speaker, depending on the time, or we might save the bigger Q&A for the discussion at the end, when I'll be very interested in what each of you have got to say as well. If you were to say, what about this? Share some of your own experiences of personal transformation, both good and bad, and figure out what we as a society may need to do differently to enable all of us more readily and more reliably to get into a better mental state. And to kick things off, very pleased to have Darren with us. I'm not going to do a long bios because each of them defy simple biographies, but I think this sort of says it. Ancient technology for the future of mental health. Let's give a warm welcome to Darren.